The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Good evening, sim racing fans from NASCAR's backyard on this Wednesday evening for the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. It's round 2 of 4 in the 2015 American Sim Racing Series Xfinity Series Championship here tonight with the Charlotte 100 on a Global Sim Racing channel. We're glad to have you with us up in the broadcast booth alongside of myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Ayrton Ellis as well. Our director is Amjad Yamad, and our camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. Ayrton, first off, excited to be here on this Xfinity Series Wednesday night. The Xfinity Series with the American Sim Racing Series running on the off weeks for the regularly scheduled AMSOIL Truck Series. So a little bit of a different thing into tonight's race, but there is a whole lot of storylines. And one of those is that this is a brand new sim, essentially, as of 5 hours ago.
Yep, the 2014 Season 4 build was just released today, so they've added quite a few things. Easy anti-cheat, dynamic tracks, V6 tire models, and a couple new cars, some new Ford and Toyota Xfinity cars, which some of these guys might be driving tonight. Also tonight, we're switching from what was scheduled to be the Milwaukee Mile to Charlotte Motor Speedway, just to make things a little easier for these guys in these B cars. Charlotte Motor Speedway is a 1.5 mile long track. Almost anyone in the racing service knows it because it's a free track, so everyone's familiar with it. So it should definitely be an exciting race. These cars are fixed to 75% fuel, so they'll have to make at least one stop throughout the race. And on cold tires early on in the race, low line should be good. Outside seems to be preferable on the long run. These guys are also running fixed setups, so it definitely should be a close and exciting race for sure, Evan.
So he said that we were going to be at the Milwaukee Mile. We changed to Charlotte Motor Speedway. In doing so, to try to keep things calm, because as you said, and for everybody that's on the iRacing service, you know, everybody has Charlotte. It's one of the tracks and the only 1.5 that you get with the sim when you sign up. So you think Charlotte a safe bet to be, but so far from what we've been hearing from these drivers, that may not necessarily be the case. I've been out there running some lap times, getting some things in, and we've seen these guys as well, Ayrton, in this 30-minute practice session that has led up to right now that you're taking a look at live qualifying. 10 minutes open queue. Get the best lap that you can, find the best spot on the grid for this 67-lap affair. What we've seen so far from everybody is that these cars are not very friendly, and with basically the biggest thing is those new dynamic tracks, and that's what we're going to be working with. The marbles out there on the racetrack, the track temperature going to be going up in degrees throughout this race. It's going to get hot. These guys are going to have to search around for grip. I can guarantee you one thing, they're not going to find it into turn 1, and they're most definitely not going to find anything into 3. These cars are very, very loose when they're out there by themselves. It'd be interesting when we let all 30 of them go at once.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the race. It's definitely going to be interesting. As you said, they just get so loose as you enter turns 1 and 3, and yeah, that might be the end of a few guys' races, or maybe just a big dumper on the start of them at the beginning, that's for sure.
They only mentioned that this is round 2 of 4 in this ASRS Xfinity Series Championship. A little mini series running Wednesday nights on the off weeks for the regularly scheduled ASRS AMSOIL Truck Series. Round 2 means we've got some results to talk about. And from round 1 in this championship for the Bristol Motor Speedway, Thunder Valley played host just a couple of weeks ago to the season opener, and therefore our points, same as last week's results. It is Dan Murray who enters tonight at the top of the pile. But Dan Murray not currently in the sim tonight, so that might be good news for the likes of Michael Crowbook and company. Crowbook, a top 3 car in practice, enters tonight as second in the championship standings, 5 points behind Dan Murray. Forgetting that P2 result at Bristol, Jeffrey Gilliam, DJ Beverly, Ty Hester through the top 5. You see the standings there. The results from 1 week ago as well. Austin Whistler, Alec Marshall, Alex Bates, and Justin Fuller through Norm Pelletier rounded out the top 10 in Bristol. Charlotte, though, much different than Bristol, and again, it's not just as far as adapting to a different track, but there's a whole lot of unknowns coming into this race. You'll see a couple of those new cars that Xfinity touched on. The new Ford Mustang, the new body style implemented, and then brand new to the sim as well is those Xfinity Camrys as well, the Toyotas on. So now all three of the major manufacturers represented on the sim. Nice to see that diversity out there on the racetrack. Not a whole lot of Toyotas at least represented right now. The big common denominator is all those cars are exactly the same. All these drivers are going to be dealing with exactly the same issues, and as we head into the final 5 minutes in this open qualifier session, the driver atop the board, not surprisingly, is the driver that topped the practice speeds. Right now it's Brian Yaksik with a 28.144.
Yeah, and as you said, it's completely new for these guys, so I mean, this is all an adjusting process. Some guys that might have hours and hours of practice on the old setup on the old track dynamics might be really rusty on this and might take them a while to adapt, so definitely the guys that can figure out the quickest will be ahead of the rest.
James Grahula heads down the back straightaway. He goes to the top of the board right now after not putting down a time in the practice session. You continue to take a look at some of the drivers on track. Norm Pelletier, the third right now, 20th on the racetrack right now. Big thing that's going to difference, and as well qualifying, it always plays into a difference, and you really can't relate qualifying speeds, Ayrton, all that much to practice all the time. If you have a closed qualifier session where these guys are out there by themselves, their practice laps typically have a little bit of drafting assistance. Well, you take a look at Yaksik, who had a 28.9 for practice, but a 28.1 for qualifying. Picking up 8/10, you have to figure that when you're out there with other cars as well, you might get a little bit of help as the 8 crosses the start-finish line. James Grahula, as an example, tucked up on a back bumper of Dan Murray, who is here now, and it's obviously going to be good news for Dan Murray, who tries to defend that top spot in the points after winning 1 week ago, or 1 race ago, rather, at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So the one thing that qualifying always doesn't necessarily give us is the fastest race car. They'll give you the best hot lapper, but the fun part is always in the 67-lap affair. We'll call it the first 20 laps, when you got guys that qualify back from maybe where they should be, guys a little bit maybe further up than maybe they should be based on how fast that car is in traffic. The opening parts of this race probably going to be just as exciting as when these guys are duking it out for the race win later on, because everybody has to try to find a way in line, try to really find out where they belong in line before they can just start knocking off some laps.
Yeah, and you hit it on the mark. Some of these guys I know very well from the truck series. James Grahula, Dan Murray, Justin Fuller, they've always been at the top, and they've always lasted on the long run. Some drivers end up qualifying very well. I haven't seen Brian Yaksik or Austin Missler that high in the truck series. I can only speak for the truck series because that's the only series I follow that much. But yet again, they can still get good qualifying hot laps in, so I'm interested to see how well they'll be able to do on the long run, especially since the line kind of changes now. These guys are talking in the beginning of the race, they're going to be running that low line, but as the race develops and the stints go longer, they're going to be having to run that high line, and some guys might be making a little bit of mistakes heading into that wall, entering turns 1 and 3, and that could cause a few problems.
Cautions could be not only a big factor in determining the pace of this race, but as well determining the track condition out there, because all the marble is going to be cleaned off the racetrack by the virtual jet dryers, we'll call them, underneath every single caution flag, and clean the racetrack up a little bit. That's obviously going to change the effect of the race. In 67 laps, not a marathon by any means, but still 101 miles from green to checker in this one. That gives this racetrack plenty of time to adjust, change, and as you mentioned, guys going from the bottom, maybe going up top, trying to find a grip. Before we get started, let's talk about some track facts about the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This racetrack, located in Concord, North Carolina, it is owned and operated by Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, opened back in 1960 for a construction cost of just $1.25 million. Plays host to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, Champion World Trucks, as well as the Wheel and Southern Modifieds at NHRA at the drag strip. The track itself, though, quad oval at 1.5 miles, 24 degrees of banking. Big word I'm going to highlight there is quad oval, Ayrton. It is not a progressive left-hand bank through the front straightaway. There's 2 very distinct dog legs. It's easy on a Q lap, but when you're out there in traffic, that could be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, side-by-side action is going to be tight on that front stretch. Back stretch should be okay since it's fairly straight, but that front stretch, it's going to be tough going side-by-side, and 3 wide will be very dangerous as well, since we might see a bit of that coming out of turn 4.
And then Murray's going to be able to make it to third on the board, and he'll spin to a halt. You see the checkered flag displayed on the top left corner of your screen. The time elapsing through 10 minutes. And that means that the drivers that are on track right now have the opportunity to finish their lap with the red and black flags flying, and qualifying has come to a close from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we get sent to rack 'em and stack 'em, let you know where they're all going to start for round 2 of 4 in the ASRS Xfinity Series Championship tonight at Charlotte, with the Charlotte 100. Car's going to come to a stop now, track going to be clear, and the pace car hops out onto the field. And let's give you the GSRC starting grid for tonight's race. James Grahula, how about a pole position for the driver that didn't put one single lap down in practice? The 8 car with a 28.121 goes to the top of the board. He'll start on the inside of row 1 and be the control car for the start of this race. Brian Yaksik has to settle for second. Dan Murray's going to find himself in third. Justin Fuller on the outside of him in 4th position. 5th spot to Jeffrey Gilliam, and Austin Mishuller rounds out your top 6.
Then in 7th place is Bryce Whitson. Alex Marshall is going to be on 8th place outside of him. Nick Cohan in 9th, and then Tommy Ryan in 10th place. Gary Whitson is starting out in 11th, and then Michael Krobach in 12th.
Joshua King's number 35 get a roll from the unlucky or lucky, we'll see, number 13 starting position. Alongside him, the number 14, that's the number 2 Jim Fustor, and Pelletier, the third, get a start in 15th. 16th on the outside of row number 8, going to be the 68 of Ty Hester. Cody Rose in 17th, and Jeff Ryan rounds out your top 18.
Then Mark Allen in 19th place, Alec Guys in 20th, 21st is Steve Buhala, in 22nd is Mark Myers, 23rd is Alex Bates, and then 24th is Benny Ellison. He's the last of our qualifiers.
And you take a look at the final set of cars on the grid here tonight. Back 4 drivers started with provisional times. They did not get a time in the qualifier session. Ricky Harding going to start 25th. He was 23rd in practice. Jason Kristen, 15th on the practice charts, will start from 26th. Aaron Kleinhans, this will be a fun one to watch. 4th in practice, going to be all the way on row number 14 in 27th position. Carson Obey slated to start in 28th position. That driver, though, not currently on the grid as the field gets set to get off and get rolling. So again, you take a look at these numbers, practice to qualifying. There's a lot of variance in the top 10 in qualifying. Only 5 drivers that were a top 10 car in practice. That'll tell you that this will be fun as we roll.
Yeah, I'm wondering as the race goes on to see James Grahula is looking to take the inside line for this start, but I'm wondering if on the restart some guys might be opting for the outside line. Charlotte's fairly fast on the outside line.
Field rolls behind the pace car. We get set to do battle. 67 laps, dynamic tracks, the first major racing series on iRacing as of today, with the broadcast coming up with our first look at these dynamic tracks. We're glad to have you with us on the Global Sim Racing channel. Should be a fun one. The field scrubbing those tires. Hey, might actually do something now as they work down the back straightaway. Again, with these 75% fuel cells, as Eric Tiddy mentioned earlier, that's going to put these guys in about a one-stop race as far as fuel over cautions can determine. If they want to come down and get more tires than that, and that could obviously play a big factor in all of that. That's a new pace car as well. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car. Going to dive down to the safety of pit road. Field going to go in the hands of the 8 car of James Grahula. Pace car going to get down and now out of the way. Grahula in control of this field. Green flag flies at a quarter number 4. We're underway in the Charlotte 100. Green at the start finish line. Top 4 haven't even budged from where they were in turn 4. Side by side, 2 rows deep to 1. We said the inside of the racetrack going to be the place to be. Well, 1 car length to the good for the 8 and the 5. James Grahula being pushed right now by Dan. Right at the 91 of Brian Yaksik goes side by side with the 8, slides back to side by side with the 5. He'll try to find a spot in line, or is he going to force the issue? He'll cape the nose to the outside. It is going to be the 8 car of James Grahula leading that first lap by, but a bonus point in the back pocket for the driver of the number 8 Chevrolet. Yaksik, though, challenging back in the high side, already a factor.
Yeah, besides the lead, most of the rest of the pack is pretty much single file at this point. Brian Yaksik pretty much getting ahead and managed to almost get a full car length ahead of James Grahula. Looks like caution's out, though.
Trouble down the back straightaway and around into the outside wall is the number 12 car of Steve Buhala. That Chevrolet turned around and up against that bright yellow outside retaining wall. Not the first wall that he hit, though. You'll take a look at the replay right now. Down the back straightaway, and it looks like he just ran out of room. The 15 car on the inside of the racetrack, Ricky Harden, driving that middle line, and I don't know about that one, Ayrton. It looks like that 12 Maxwell Chevy just kept coming down to 15. Tried to give him room about 2-3 times, and eventually the 12 car kind of issued himself, I guess, into the inside wall off the nose of the 15, and really junked that car as you took a look at the overall view there from the blimp camera. Kind of junked him because he hit that opening, the access for the inside of the racetrack here, hit that car at a very bad angle, and that did a lot more damage than it normally would. That 12 pretty torn up, and he's obviously been forced to pit road.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bizarre instant, but that also means in the lead, Brian Yatzik had a nose ahead of James Krahula. He's going to get that first place position for this restart.
And no objections, I'm sure, on behalf of the 91. It was that Wrangler Chevrolet that was able to make that move on the outside of the racetrack. He had not gotten clear, but as you said, had a nose in front at the start-finish line and had a nose in front as well at the time of the caution, so it made things a lot easier for him, and he was scored as the race leader. The Wrangler Gene Chevy will be your race leader as the field paces behind the pace car at the moment. A couple of cars on pit road. The 12 of Steve Buhala, obviously down for repairs. We have the 84 car. Cody Rose is in for service. The 04 of Mark Myers. Looks like the 02 of Jason Kristen. Ricky Harden. Alex Bates. Going to be some of the drivers that come down pit road. Those guys at the back of the pack, and we said that you only need one stop fuel-wise, but if you're at the back, why not come down and take tires?
Most of the field is roughly where they started in the race. Biggest mover, I think, is Aaron Cleanhams, starting 27th up to 18th, and you have to keep in mind, he was that driver who was 4th fastest in practice, so he's definitely got that speed, trying to work his way up the field.
Yeah, talking about that, he started 23 spots further back in the grid as opposed to, as you said, where he was in practice with a 4th place result. The Club Ohio number 85 car obviously trying to get back forward. Tell you what, though, for 3 laps, picking up 11 spots, or 9 spots, actually, he'll be put on the outside of the road with the 17 of Mark Allen, who, by the way, is scored and 17th position. Interestingly enough, Cleahans is going to be 18th for this restart on the outside of row number 9. Tell you what, if he can do that for the rest of the race, that's a pretty good plus-minus to this extent so far. Lights already, though, off on top of the pace car. We do get set to go back. Green flag racing. Shuffles up at the front of the field. Everybody just swaps a row. Brian Yatzik going to go from the outside of the front row in second to first. That's going to put James Krahula from first to second to the outside. Justin Fuller goes from 4th on the outside of row 2 to the inside in 3rd, and he'll replace Dan Murray, who falls to 4th. This extent, 26 out of the 27 drivers that started this race on a lead lap. Steve Buhala still down pit road for damages, and then Carson Obe did not take the green flag. He'll get a DNS for this Charlotte 100. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car gonna dive down to the safety of pit road. Let's see what Yatzik's got up his sleeve. Waiting. Green flag flies back and away we go. 51 trying to encourage him. I'll tell you what, all over the back your race leader was Justin Fuller. That's gonna be a good move on his behalf because he'll be able to get second down to 1.
Right behind him, Dan Murray stuck on the outside. Jeffrey Gilliam in that 61 car managed to get past him for 4th place.
Behind them, look at a battle for about 7th position on track. Side by side to 1. The 00L Bryce Whitson Jr. on the inside of the racetrack, trying to get around the Army Chevy up top. The 11 of Austin Missler, who started 6th and is stuck up on the outside. Maybe not the place to be on lap number 1, but he'll try to fight back as the 00 now gets pinched behind the 5 of Dan Murray. Murray in his own right trying to find a way around the 61, and there's contact with those 3 drivers down to turn 1. Big puff of smoke as the 00 gets into the 5. Nobody really has a big shuffle out of line. Cars behind him took evasive action, but they're all good for now, and that battle continues down through 3.
Yeah, Austin Missler had to go high there going through 1 and 2. He lost about 2 or 3 positions there, falling back to about 10th place.
maybe a smart move, thinking something was going to happen, but all of those guys that were bumper to bumper to bumper were able to keep things in line. Now trouble, the double OL, Bryce Whitson Jr. sideways in the corner. He'll hang on, but trouble up top, the 14 car spinning down in turn number 1. Alec Marshall around the 35 car now as well spinning. That's Joshua King. The unacceptable racing car is wrecked down the back straightaway. Caution flag will fly yet again. And we'll take a look at the replay right now, Ayrton. Something we said at the top is that these guys may be looking for grip. They're not going to find it into the corner. And that's exactly what we saw with the double O. You see the 14. The 14 is the one that actually ends up wrecking. What happened was that double O entering the racetrack on the bottom, took a peek to the outside on the 5, and that quick right-left action on the wheel, you'll see it gets him sideways. He's fine, but it's the cars up top right there. The orange number 14 car has to get out of the way or he'll plow into the 00, and in doing so, Alec Marshall turns the 35 around. Both of those cars spun. Somehow nobody else plowed into them, and it stays restricted to a 2-car incident.
I think the 35 car, Joshua King, really got the worst of that. He went right into the wall. He actually clipped another driver. I think that was... He clipped another driver. It was the 56 Norman Pelletier. He went into the wall as well on the backstretch afterwards.
So the 36 car going to be forced to pit road to attempt to get the 56 car going to be forced down to pit road to try to get those things repaired. He got hit from behind down in corner number 1, and he was well behind this wreck. He got hit in the back by the 68 car trying to check up, and then, as you mentioned, trying to avoid the spinning 35, got hooked again, and actually became the 3rd victim of that incident. So the retax machine going to come down pit road for service. Your leaders, they thought about it, but nobody was biting on it. Justin Fuller, you would think, would be in the catbird seat, because as a race leader, if you pit, nobody else is going to pit. If you stay out, everybody's going to pit. Well, the 51 knows that. Justin Fuller knows his way around a racetrack at an iRacing sim. He looks like he wanted to come down, Ayrton, but he saw nobody else was coming down with him. He jumped back at a line, and about 5 other cars who were showing, at least, that they were going to come down for service jumped back in line. Mid-pack, though, a lot of action. Your leaders, though, staying out now 10 laps in.
Yeah, which I think is a safe bet. It's we've had 2 cautions already, 10 laps in. We're probably gonna have some more, so there's plenty of time to wait before they can go in. 67 laps, so we're only about 6th way through the race.
Race control issuing some extensive warnings to some of these drivers for pit lane exit procedure under the caution flag. A couple of drivers going up onto the racing surface before that blend line that is located at a corner number 2 and down the back straightaway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race control issuing those drivers a warning. No penalties as of now, but if they do it again, I'd see some EOLs happening as well. Did have an infraction during the qualifying session, and that may have been one of the reasons. And again, don't have any official, information on this, but Clean Hans was at the back of the pack in this one. He was a fast car. I know somebody did get penalized for improper pit road exit procedure in qualifying. Not sure who that was, but yeah, you gotta, especially in that open qualifier, I guess, because you got 10 minutes out there, everybody's there. It's not like you're by yourself, Ayrton. If you can cheat by yourself, pull right up at a pit road, go to the outside wall, but with other cars, we're not the smartest ideas. So I know at least 1 car got penalized for that, and some of these guys may be trying to cheat their luck here as far as the actual race goes.
And speaking about pit lane exit rather, if we come down to it being green for the rest of the race, which may or may be unlikely, but if we do, these guys are going to have to make green flag pit stops, and coming out of that, keeping under the apron when you exit pit lane, when it's green, it's tough. You can spin your car pretty easily on the exit if you're trying to stay under the aprons, and that might be a factor. We have green flag pit stops.
Lights on top of that bright gold Ford Mustang GT pace car are extinguished, and that means we're getting set to go back underway in this Charlotte 100. Brian Yoxick, your race leader, started in 2nd. He's led about halfway since the first caution flag. Currently working under our 2nd safety clean caution flag at Charlotte Motor Speedway. In the restart, going to put 12 laps into the books, and it'll mark us up with 55 laps to go down to the end of this one. Not that it looks like it'll be a major factor at all tonight, but if it so has to become. This race is time limited to 1 hour and 20 minutes. Don't expect that, though, to really be a concern so far in this. But again, the marbles are cleaned automatically under caution, so another clean racetrack for this next restart. It's going to be Yoxic, Fuller, Krahula, Gilliam, and Murray inside the top 5. All big names out of any of the names that sit top 10, top 5 in points after they had strong runs at Bristol, trying to compete that through and obviously transfer that through after this. We're already halfway through this mini Xfinity Series season. Pace car going to get down and away. Yoxic in control again on the bottom. He'll hold them at bay just a little bit longer than before. Green flag flies and away we go with 91 clear for the race lead. Fuller going to get second. How about Jeffrey Gilliam outside on row number 2? Trying to get third. The 8 car challenges back to the inside. Here comes Krahula.
Right behind them, Nick Cohan in that 53 car falling back a little bit. He lost position to Gary Whitson on the start. Still stuck on that outside. Gary Whitson on the inside.
61 machine had the momentum for him. That is gone now in quarters number 3 and 4. The 8 of Krahula going to be able to get clear. The 61 under attack to the inside, but points leader Dan Murray down on the inside of the racetrack. The Akidoc Solutions GoPro Camaro going to be able to almost get clear down to 161, pulling back to the outside. Contact the 53. Going to get into the back of him. A little bit of encouragement of a half Nick Cohan. That nearly turned the 61 of Gilliam around. Could have been very ugly. Everybody still pointed the right direction. They stay side by side at a 4. Dan Murray going to get clear. Now the 13 of Gary Whitson trying to put the move on a 61 car. Oh, 53 car loose. That's the 53. Cohan hard into the outside wall. Caution flag will fly. And I almost want to say that you saw that one coming. The 53 car and Nick Cohan talked about contact with him in the 61 down in turns number 1 and 2 last time. You see the replay right now. The 53 close, close, close. And although he didn't hit him, when you're up on somebody's bumper with a loose quarter entry, it's very easy to, I guess, not hit your mark exactly as so. This is exactly how we saw the earlier incident happen with the 00 car. You look to the outside on somebody into the corner, therefore your line is off. With a very loose race car, it doesn't take a whole lot. Could have very well been what we saw from Nick Cohan. A little bit of a late turn in, that car gets sideways. He comes down, should have destroyed the 16 machine. Somehow got on the brakes, was able to avoid it. Unfortunately, Austin and Missler not going to be able to get away. The Army Chevy, wrong place at the wrong time. He gets collected.
Yeah, took a big hit on the front there and the right rear as well. I'm not sure how much damage that caused to his car, but he might have to come into pit lane.
Pit lane 4 race leaders. Brian Yoxic issuing to pit road. He'll come down. Justin Fuller going to jump out at the last second. He saw that James Krahula was not coming down, and Fuller going to jump back out, take the race lead. Dan Murray's going to come down from 4th. Gary Whitson stays out, and I'll tell you what, almost a 50-50 split on the pit road. This will be very interesting when we go back to green flag racing. Close calls on the pit lane entry. The 91, the 5, though, the top 2 drivers onto the pit lane. It looks like 2 tires so far for the Wrangler Chevy of Brian Yoxic, and it looks like they'll go with a 4-tire stop and fuel. Drag race off of pit road, going to go in favor of the number 91 machine, Mark Myers, in the Panic 04 machine, trying to take no tires on that time. Looks like he came down and either just took a splash and go or maybe had to serve some sort of a penalty. However, for the most part, penalties not being able to be served under the caution flag comes in, does a stop and go. May have just refueled that race car. But I tell you what, Justin Fuller is lucky that this is the sim, Ayrton, because he was down below that orange commitment cone onto the pit lane. Fortunately for him, the scoring stripe does not start on the sim, not at that bright yellow line across the racetrack, but doesn't start to the white line signified by the cones on the pit lane. So he was still able to pull out left side tires in the grass at all. Gutsy move and almost came up into the 8 car as he was doing it. And here's James Krahula thinking he's going to take the race lead. Next thing he knows, he'll be in second. And the question is, how far down the ladder are these guys with tires going to be? And how much of a buffer do the guys like Fuller and Krahula have as far as other guys still on old tires behind them? And how many cars that those guys on fresh rubber are going to have to try to fight through to get to him?
Yeah, it really depends how many positions Yoxic and Murray can get. They're in 14th and 16th place at the moment, so they've got pretty much half the field, a little more than half the field to get through. So it really depends how fast they can get through that field before maybe the next caution.
Race control is taking a look at that pit road entry that we just talked about, but number 50, what a machine of Justin Fuller. They're going to look at the pit lane based on what that 51 did and make a ruling accordingly to such. Justin Fuller exchanging his opinion with that on the radio right now. But a 51, at least at the moment, the Toyota Camry is scored as your overall race leader at this point. 50 laps to go that last time by. The start-finish line going to be 49 to go this time by. So again, the 67-lap affair. 3 quick cautions to get the Charlotte 100 kicked off. Although that is the case, already a good portion of this race is gone in the books. What that means for the guys that pitted Ayrton is making this a one-stop race on fuel. They may have just kind of forced themselves into a 2-stop race. These other guys might be holding off still to try to pit maybe more towards halfway.
Yeah, probably. I mean, not quite sure how far they can go. They might be able to make it on one stop. This might be the point in the race where they can make it at least, because it's a little less than a third way through the race. We'll see, that's for sure. Justin Fuller, James Kahula, both Truck Series rivals. They've fought against each other quite a lot in the ASRS series, that's for sure. Both very fast drivers, very consistent on the long run and worn tires, so if we get any lawn stints, they might break away from the field.
Ryan Yoxick going to be in 14th position for this next restart after leading for the better most of about 2/3 of the laps so far that we've completed. It's going to be Justin Fuller from 4th to 1st in your pole sitter. Going to be on the outside of the front row. It's Fuller, Kahula, Whitson, Gilliam, and Ron for this restart. The pace car going to dive down to the safety of pit road. Going to get out of the way. 51 in control at a quarter number 4. Waiting. Green flag flies. Underway we go yet again for the 3rd time off of a caution flag here tonight. The American Ethanol green flag flies. The challenge this time going to be for 2nd, though. It's James Kahula trying to hold off the 13 of Gary Whitson. Full throttle as they bring these cars up to full song through 1 and 2. And the advantage to the inside for the moment for the target Chevy. And completing that pass will be Gary Whitson, slid up in front of the 8 car down the back straightaway. Now well clear down the front. Take over sole possession of 2nd on the racetrack. Tommy Ryan trying a big charge. Gary Whitson in his own right up 9 spots. Tommy Ryan up 6, looking for more. The Northern Tool and Equipment Chevrolet on the inside of the racetrack. He wants a podium running spot, trying to get 3rd away from James Kahula. Kahula playing the defensive line up top, really doesn't have a choice. He hasn't been able to get down in line, drives it in hard into 3. Beautiful move. He'll be able to get 3rd.
Right behind these guys, also Ricky Harden, that number 15 car rather. He started in 25th place. He's up in 5th now, so having a very good run so far this race.
Oh, trouble the 15, Harden to the outside wall. Ricky Harden, contact again. Turn number 1, the place not to be on the outside of the racetrack. The 16 machine, 15 trying to challenge. The car just got sideways, and he planted himself at a fence to avoid spinning. Good news, he doesn't take anybody else. We stay green. The bad news is that car really torn up, and he's slow at a 4.
Dropped all the way down to 23rd place. Not great for Ricky Harden, that's for sure. Oh, the 13 car. Gary Whitson. Ooh, spins, hits James Kahula right in the front. That doesn't cause a caution, but he's in the infield.
Spinning to the inside wall. That car going to come to a stop, and now the caution flag will be triggered. Caution flies at lap 23. Already going to take a look at the GSRC replay. Same scenario. Car up on the outside of the racetrack. Although he was single file, again, did make a very broad arc into the corner, and we talked about that these race cars are going to be very loose. You saw the small bobble. He got sideways. There's nothing for James Kahula to do. If he slams the brakes, he's in the fence, and if he tries to swerve around him, he's in the fence. He's just hoping that he doesn't hit the 13. Unfortunately, gets him in the door. Kahula then blends back up at a racetrack, and he's okay. The problem then ensues after that car came to a rest on the apron. Then you take a look on board with James Kahula. Kahula comes back up on track, and car trying to play hero and all of that. The 68 of Ty Hester tries to split the gap on the 16. The car a little bit sideways also. Comes down, hits the 00 and the 8. Spins those 2 cars out. His Jags machine spins down the back straightaway. big wreck ensues. Dan Murray got involved in that, and the 84 car as well. About a dozen race cars wrecked down the back to turn 3. And again, what started out as a single car incident ends up as the big one here at Charlotte, just on lap number 23.
And many top drivers involved in that. I think the only people who got through out of the top 5 were Tommy Ryan and Justin Fuller, who were actually ahead of it at the time. Both those decided to head into pits, I believe. Yeah, they're in pits right now.
And I'll tell you what, how about that shuffle? Jeffrey Gilliam going to go to the race lead in the number 61 car right now. Joshua King from 13th to 2nd. Brian Yoxick from 14th to 3rd on that restart. And I got to feel bad for the 61 into 35 because Yoxick, no damage on that Wrangler Chevy, found a hole through. He's got fresh tires. The cars in front of him don't. And I don't expect them to be able to put up much of a challenge.
Also, Aaron Kleenham's the man who started in pretty much last place, sitting in 5th, right behind, or 4th rather, right behind Yatsik.
And Kleinhans, as you said, started 27th out of a scheduled 28, although Carson Obe here, and we had some connection issues on his end of things, wasn't able to take the green flag tonight, so that did make Aaron Kleinhans the shotgun rider on the field, already up 23 spots, which is conveniently enough the same amount of positions that he dropped from practice to Q. 4th fastest in practice, qualified 27th, and is the 4th highest running driver on track right now. And the good news for him is that being just 26 laps into this race that we work right now out of the caution flag, that because of such, he can now try to pick away at these top 4 spots. But I think you said it best, not a whole lot of the leaders got through that last one. A lot of drivers going into damage control. Alex Geese, Mark Allen, Norman Pelletier, the 3rd, Austin Missler, all falling 1 lap down. You got Ricky Harden, James Grahula on pit road, Jason Christen, Alec Marshall, Jim Foose, Ty Hester and company. Everybody on the pit lane. And with this race still having 42 laps to go, those that have clean race cars have a huge opportunity now. Take a look at the guys just outside of the top 3. Aaron Kleinhans, one of the names that we've been talking about. 27th is where he started. He's 4th. Michael Krobach started in 12th. He's 5th. 23rd is where Alex Bates started. He is 6th. Jeff Rhyme, who's up to 7th, was in 18th. It was a 24th place spot on the grid for Benny Ellison. He is in 8th position. A lot of drivers, if they were in the right spot at the right time, or rather just not the wrong spot at the wrong time through that melee down the back straightaway, they could get a whole lot of points through tonight.
Yeah, and Justin Fuller and Tommy Ryan, their 1st and 2nd before this caution, they pitted and came out in 9th and 10th, so not as huge as the shuffle as Brian Yatsik was pushed down earlier. He dropped down to, I believe, 17th or 14th place rather. So these guys, they've got a lot less field ahead of them, and they're looking to break through, especially since most of the drivers in front of them have worn tires.
And the lights have been extinguished around the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Restart with 40 laps to go in the Charlotte 100. Still a long way from home in this one. Still 60 miles yet to be completed in this event so far. It is going to be Jeffrey Gilliam and Joshua King on the front row of this one. Row 2 going to be Brian Yoxick, Aaron Kleinhans, and Michael Krobach. Rounds out your top 5 for this one. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car going to dive down to the safety of pit road. Green flag flies through the restart box yet again. We're back underway. Jeffrey Gilliam going to take 40 laps to go at Charlotte, and Yoxick on those fresh tires makes quick work of a damaged Joshua King. He's bringing the 7 to Michael Krobach with him down low. They swing it a 2 down the back straightaway. Top 3 single filed out. All the way through to 10th position. Single file at a racetrack. First battle sees the 13 to Gary Whitson putting the move on the 05 Benny Ellison. Going backwards on the outside of the racetrack. Alex Bates, the next victim, on the outside as well. But Yoxick for the race slate across the start finish line to the inside. The Wrangler Jean Chevrolet to the inside on Jeffrey Gilliam. No problem to the top spot.
Clean move for him. Aaron Kleenhan's also gaining position in 4th, but looks like Justin Fuller heading straight to the inside as they come out of turn 2. He's going to get the inside position heading to 3rd, looking for that 4th position from Kleenhan's.
And he'll get that spot as the 85 slides backwards up top. You see the 35 at the inside right there, the Unacceptable Racing Joshua King entry. That Camaro all torn up and didn't necessarily get through the wreck, but he ended up better off than some of these other guys who ended their night on the hook. But he's still out there, damaged race car and all, trying to do something, and he'll slide up in front of the 85 for 5th. A little tap to the back bumper, and then a move to the inside for Aaron Kleenhans trying to challenge. They'll go side by side. The battle for 5th is in turns 3 and 4. Kleenhans on the inside of the racetrack. Better race car, going to have a little bit better handling with the lack of damage that you see on the 35, and he'll do exactly what Joshua King did to him. Slide up in front, shut the door at a 2, tap to the back bumper, acknowledging that on behalf of the 35, and P5 now goes back to Aaron Kleenhans. Behind them, battle on the racetrack, the 13 going to go through on the inside. Gary Whitson trying the recovery. Jeff Ryan, though, trying to stop the bleeding after the restart. The Hot Wheels Chevy started up inside of the top 6 at a restart, falling back on the outside. He'll lose another one, that time to Benny Allison, another driver who was going the wrong direction. That Canon Toyota makes a move down low. And now again, 85 just can't catch a break because now Kleenhan's under attack by the 35 and the 16. Hello, sliding up, contact into the outside wall. Aaron Kleenhans will get walled by the number 35, rather the 7 car in that battle. He'll get put into the wall just by that car on the inside of him. Now more contact, spinning down in turn 1. Caution flag is out. Gary Whitson will save it. And that's a lot to process at about 30 seconds or so. Ty Hester is slow on the apron in turn number 1. Wrecking, though, in turn 1 was Joshua King. The 35 is the car that got into and evidently walled the 35, or the 85, apologies, in turns 3 and 4. Kleenhans gets put in the wall, Ayrton, by that 35 of Joshua King with a damaged race car who pushed up the hill. King then drives down to turn 1, gets into the wall on his own right, spins out, and he wrecks, and then they also wrecked separate from him with the 13 car. Had about 7 cars facing the wrong direction in about a span of 20 seconds.
Yeah, definitely very chaotic. Multiple incidents happening at the same time. That's just going to add more drivers to be sent straight to pit lane, sitting, waiting for repairs. We've got a ton of drivers this race. In that last stint, Austin Missler, Bryce Whitson, Alec Marshall, Nick Cohen, they're all sitting in pits for that whole last stint. Now a lot more drivers will be joining them.
And with that, the drivers take a look to the pit lane. Justin Fuller, this time he'll stay committed to it, and he'll drop down to the inside of Michael Krobach is going to take in 3rd, and as well Tommy Ryan is going to stay out. So another 50-50 split. Yoxic, though, pitted last time, not having any of it. The Wrangler Gene Chevrolet is going to stay to the outside of the racetrack, and he'll take over the race lead in this one. 16 machine going to follow him through. Tommy Ryan to a top 5 spot. Do want to grab a quick word with one of the drivers that have had an issue so far tonight, and it looks like, at least at this extent, a premature end to the evening for the driver of the number 2 car. Jim Foose running in the top 10 spot. Gets himself into somebody else's mess, though, down the back straightaway. Nowhere for the 2 car to go. Gets torn up, and Jim, it looks like you guys out of the race at this point. First off, tough break for you guys moving forward. Top 10 spot. What happened from behind the wheel of the Driven Design Chevy?
Well, we were just cruising along, and the driver made a mistake going into the turn 1 there, and got a little sideways. Had to gather it up, and the next thing you know, there's a wreck in front of us, and we're just kind of along for the ride, and tried to miss it, and unfortunately they didn't quite stay where we thought they would.
Let me tell you what, you're in much company in that description, because a lot of guys struggling with the handling of their race cars, and still to this extent, a lot of loose race cars into the corner. You mentioned there that you got sideways before you got caught up in that incident in front of you, and that incident that you ended up getting caught up in started with somebody getting just a little bit loose. What was it like handling the race car out there with the current track condition?
It was pretty sideways. It was a lot like driving on ice, really. And I had a good car. You know, I was pretty comfortable in it and felt that we were making a pretty good charge, but it was pretty slippery. It would get grippy. As the run would go on, the tires would fall off. There's a lot of fall off built into these tires, and just would start to go away, which is what we've all wanted. So it really put the racing back into the driver's hands.
And we move forward from this again. This build just a couple of hours into the mix, and with the truck series being off this week, running the ASRS Xfinity series tonight at Charlotte, you guys go back to the full-time duties in 1 week's time here on the Global Sim Racing channel from Chicagoland Speedway. That's going to be round 18 in the AMSOIL Truck Series. With this dynamic build now, the dynamic tracks, what are you looking forward to for the next round of the Truck Series in 1 week's time?
I am very encouraged by what we saw tonight. You know, we got on the track about 4 o'clock this afternoon and got some laps in. So just really happy with how it feels, and it's kind of played into my comfort a little bit more. I like the tire fall off. You know, I like the being able to conserve tires and catch somebody that burned their tires up, and I like the varying grip and all that. And it just, like I said a couple minutes ago, it just puts everything back into the driver's hands so much that this is what we've wanted. This is what we've been asking for a long time, and the guys over at iRacing have done a phenomenal job. And this is only the beginning, so I look forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Good, getting set to go back, Green. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank when we got you?
We're self-sponsored tonight with Driven Designs. It's my own company on our Chevy Camaro, but really just want to thank everybody that showed up tonight for this Xfinity Series race, and everybody at iRacing that put this together. This is just it's a phenomenal build, and it's a great job all around. And hey, thanks to you guys for having us tonight and getting this deal on here.
Thanks for sticking around and chatting, Jim. Again, tough luck tonight. Best of luck next week. Green flag drops and back underway we go. Brian Yoxick on the inside of the racetrack. The Wrangler Chevrolet going to take the race lead. No problem. Give him 6 car lengths down to quarter number 1. The battle there going to be for second on back. Tommy Ryan on the outside, not the place to be. Benny Ellison was going backwards on the last restart. This time going forward, the 05 to second.
Yeah, but the guy to look out for is Justin Fuller. Fresh tires. He pitted that last lap.
Contact,
seventh.
39. Big trouble. Jeff Ryan up into the outside wall. Second time tonight. The Hot Wheels Chevy's been in trouble. And if the wall wasn't there, it would have been a lot worse. He got hit in the left rear. Gary Whitson turns the Hot Wheels Chevy around. Looked like a little bit of net code, and much like we saw earlier in this race. Now again in the fence. Not wrecking, no caution, but that car severely slowed up as you saw the replay.
Yeah, Jeff Ryan having a little bit of a tough time. It was a really slight contact between him and Gary Whitson.
And the 13 machine as well here, and struggling in his own respect with the handling on that race car. Gary Whitson on the inside of the 05. Benny Ellison now again going backward. Justin Fuller, the name that you pointed out, already up 4 positions from the restart on this one. Make it 5 after he started in 7th. He's up to the bridesmaid spot. He wants more. He's got to trace down, though. Yoxick, it's half a second between the top 2.
Tommy Ryan and Ricky Harden side. Actually, not Ricky Harden. That's Benny Ellison right there on the outside in the 05 car. So on the outside as they're going through 1 and 2. Tommy Ryan trying to get that position. Meanwhile, Ricky Harden sitting right behind those guys, waiting to pounce if one of them makes a mistake.
Might have called it too soon. I said Benny was going forwards this time. That's the problem he had on the last restart, was that car not handling old that well on the outside of the racetrack. The Cannon Toyota made up a spot, got to second on the restart, has since fallen to 5th. Good news for him is Ricky Hart and Michael Krobach are entertaining themselves behind him, the 15 and 16, fighting for 5th position. So actually that puts Benny up in 4th right now on track. Fuller slowly creeping in, the gap between the top 2 from 5/10 to 4. Still not an immediate battle as you keep your eyes on the fight for 5th, down through 3 and 4. Still on each other's door. The run on the outside of the racetrack going to give Harden the nose with the stripe. and that gap being just 4/1000ths of a second. The 05 again enjoying the fight. You take a look on board with the car behind them, and that's a good view that Salvador Michael Krobach has. He's kind of taking it in and trying to figure out who he wants to go with. Do we go 3 wide? The 05 tight on the top of the racetrack. To the middle goes Ricky Harden, and that's 3 wide down the front straightaway. Do they hold it to the corner, or is somebody going to lift? It looks like the 16 wants to check up. Hello, and good news they did. Otherwise, the
Brian
15
Yatsic.
and the 16 would have gotten together. And now trouble for your race leader, Brian Yatsic, sideways, and he just overdrove that car. Fuller got to him. He tried to give it a little bit too much, got sideways, and Fuller gets damaged from that contact. That puts Gary Witz into the race lead.
After all the trouble Gary Whitson has had, he's had two or three spins so far this race. He's now leading the race in front of Fuller.
Still a long way to go, but quite the recovery for the cartwheel machine. Now trouble Michael Krobach, the 7, the Subway Chevrolet, up high in turn number 2. Trouble happens in front of him. The 05 of Benny Ellison continues to struggle with the handling on that Canon EOS machine. Sideways, Krobach goes to avoid him. The 7 ends up at the outside of the retaining wall. And the question now becomes, who gets loose this lap? You can tell about 10 laps on these old tires. Even with the guys that have new tires, you get heated up. The track continues to get hotter and harder. These guys trying to find a way on the outside of the racetrack to find grip. They are just so loose. Benny Ellison looks like he'll be falling outside of the top 10. Dan Murray to the inside on him, involved in an incident earlier, trying to salvage points after entering tonight atop the championship standings. He's trying to go through on the bottom. Jason Kristen just behind him as well, trying to follow through.
And Justin Fuller managed to get right back into the lead. Oh, and right behind him, Gary Whitson gets loose, manages to save it. Lost a lot of time to Fuller, though, managed to keep the car on track.
So Whitson goes from the top spot, falls back to second, and the handling issues continue for the driver of the number 13 machine. The 15 of Ricky Harden going to be able to get around him up on the outside of the racetrack, so Harden will jump up to second. Right rear damage, though, on that number 15 Camaro as that time by 20 laps to go for Justin Fuller. Biggest concern I would be if I'm the driver of the 51 Ayrton is he hit the at-time race leader in the front. He's got to watch his engine test, but caution flag back out. He'll be able to coast it and slow things down. Trouble with Tommy Ryan this time. And the caution flag does come out. And again, like you said, another car getting loose, that Northern Tool and Equipment Chevrolet. And I'm not surprised that it happened in turn 1. You're taking a look at the replay now. And it's always when they're following somebody. You get in somebody else's draft, you get a little bit too brave. Car gets sideways. He did a good job for the most part. He just ran out of room and ended up in the fence. You take a look on board.
They came very close to hitting Alex Bates.
Car goes into one on the outside. It breaks sideways. You can hear him try to keep it off the fence. The car eventually slows in that 4th gear once he stays in the gas, trying to keep it off the fence, bogs down a little bit, gets in the fence. And as you said, Alex Bates somehow able to avoid that after the 16 kind of shot down off of the wall. Tell you what, the 22 passed the 16 when the 16 was essentially perfectly facing backwards. And I feel like if he would have got there maybe 2 seconds later, 2 seconds earlier, he would have hit him. So he spun right around him. Alex Bates survives to live another day. Justin Fuller down pit road. Is this the final time these guys take a swing at service tonight? Fuller going to come down pit road. Ricky Harden follows through. Gary Whitson not having any of that. He'll stay out, take over the lead. So Fuller, the first car down pit road, right side tires going up on the number 51 machine. You take a look at pit road. These drivers, for the most part, should all be taking 4 tires, fuel, and off. Fuller sitting in the number 4 pit stop. He'll win the race off of pit road, and that'll put him at best that what looks like it may be about 6th or 7th position as far as the amount of drivers that are staying out on the field here. Gary Whitson, though, leads this race at within 20 laps to go. With the Charlotte 100, we'll step away for just a quick moment. We'll be right back at a virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're watching the ASRS Xfinity Series on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll be back in a moment. live on the Global Sim Racing channel, getting set for a late race restart at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is round 2 of 4 in the ASRS Xfinity series, and the Charlotte 100 about to be determined whose way it will go. The American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car down and out of the way. Gary Whitson stays out. He's your race leader. Green flag flies. Back underway we go. Jeffrey Gilliam restarts from second spot. He'll stay second down to quarter number 1 to 51 Justin Fuller on the inside of the racetrack, trying to challenge through. He's played the fuel game as well. He was just now down on pit road not all that long ago, and he is trying to do something with it. Let's see if the strategy call for the 13 was worth the 1 spot. Fuller could get second down in 3.
Meanwhile, Ricky Harden managing to get a run on Jeffrey Gilliam on that inside. He's going to try to follow Justin Fuller right through and keep that inside as they head into 1.
And Harden on the inside of the racetrack going to be 4th at the stripe. He'll take, though, 3rd. Down through the middle, 1 and 2, slides high up the racetrack, and it'll be a 1 car length advantage over Jeffrey Gilliam. Gilliam started this race in 5th position, but has not shown the long run speed may be necessary. The Fanatic Ford Fusion will lose another spot because here comes the 91, Brian Yaksic. Fresh tires, meanwhile, battle for the race lead. Justin Fuller to the inside on Gary Whitson. 13 laps to go, and the 13 gives up the top spot. Looked like Whitson tried to maybe do a crossover, come back at him. Nothing going to brew from that, though. Here comes Brian Yaksic, second driver, highest in the field on fresh tires. Ricky Harden, though, going to really stall him out by fighting back on the outside of the racetrack. Yaksic cannot let Fuller get that far away because both those cars are equal tire strategy right now. The Wrangler Jean Chevrolet, he'll slide up and take 3rd. 3 cars separated by just half a second as they all sit orderly and single file behind the race leaders. Tell you what, though, Brian Yaksic closing in on the 51 of Fuller. You see that 13 of Gary Whitson struggling with the handling. The Chevrolet slides up the hill, gets really loose on him. The 91 needs to get second, and he's got a free range to get to Justin Fuller. Can't do it that time.
Oh, Ricky Harden getting a little loose in 1, manages to save it, but he's losing a lot of time. He's going to lose position to Jeffrey Gilliam. Actually hits the wall a little bit. Jeffrey Gilliam and Michael Probot going by.
He eventually ran out of room, stepped it up the hill a lot, but as you said, down attitude. Contact with the outside wall. It'll kill that car's momentum, but still in this race, clean and green. Yaksic needs to get away around the Gary Whitson's number 13 machine because the longer he sits behind him, the more and more Justin Fuller is going to go to the grab. He goes for it to the inside out of quarter number 2. Not the biggest place to get momentum, but the 91 has to make do. He'll get cleared down to turn number 3 and fresh tires again tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 2 stops could be the race-winning decision. Yaksic going to slide up to second. The question is, 0.4 of a second. Is that too much for him to be able to make up on Fuller? Not only that, but as well, we're within 10 laps to go. Do we go green all the way? Going to take a look at the intervals this time by. The gap was 0.454 the last time by the start-finish line. This time by scoring loop going to come through a 4.42. Not a lot, but something. 91 now, big bobble down to 1. Yaksic, he'll overdrive it from second sideways. Caution flag will save him. As the yellow flag comes out, he'll spin all the way around. And that may be bad news now for Brian Yaksic. Yaksic got sideways, and it looked like that would have been what was going to save him. Overdrove the corner. Ayrton, caution comes out. That's good news. However, he spins after the caution, and he may lose that second position running spot for not maintaining pace speed as he went all the way around down in corners numbered 1 and 2. Caution does come out, but this race may have just taken a big turn towards the favor of Justin Fuller. Yaksic was there, wasn't closing fast enough, and he knew that, overdrove the race car. Caution flag does come out after trouble down in 1 and 2, and I believe it was triggered actually with Gary Whitson, who as well got sideways for about the 4th or 5th time tonight.
Yeah, pretty much an identical spin from both of them, except Gary Whitson got a little more sideways, couldn't save it early enough, but Looks like Brian Yasick did lose those positions. He's pretty far back, I believe in around 15th place. Some drivers are heading into pit lane. Oh, including Brian Yasick.
This is going to be the final restart, and Yasick, I believe, was scored in 14th position. So because he, again, if he did not spin, if he just got loose and saved it, worst case scenario, I think it would have been third. Tried to get that car back going, wanted to maintain second. He saw the third place car coming and wanted to be in front of that car when the caution flag came out so he could be on the front row for the restart. A little bit overzealous, spins that car out under caution, loses his spot in line, gets dropped to 14th. I don't really think he has really any other logical decision besides coming down pit road. Jeffrey Gilliam from third, Jason Kristen from fourth, thought about coming down pit road. They ended up jumping back out because this is going to set us up for one last restart. You get a caution with it, 4 to go. This race would end under caution flag conditions, so this is going to be the final green flag restart on the race. But I'll tell you what, if you talk about a good time to peek at, Jason Kristen in the Pappy's Pet Lodge machine, 26th to 4th. Ricky Harden, 25th to 5th. Two drivers having a big gain tonight.
Yeah, Ricky Harden's managed to stay in that top 5 for pretty much the whole second half of the race. Had a few mistakes during that time while battling with the leaders where he went high. But Jason Kristen, definitely very good run. He was in that mid-pack for the majority of the race. Looks like luck is on his side for this restart. He might be in a good position to maybe pass Jeffrey Gilliam, who hasn't looked great on the restarts.
They always say that it might not be the fastest car that wins the race. That's not always the case. Well, right now, tonight could be a perfect example. Besides Justin Fuller, who leads the race and started 4th, and Jeffrey Gilliam, who sits 3rd and started in 5th, those are the only two drivers that started in a single-digit running spot that are running in a single-digit spot right now. You have the likes of Crowbook from 12th, Kristen from 26th, Harden from 25th, Whitson from 11th, but guys like Alex Bates up from 23rd, up from 24th is Benny Ellison. They've had enough luck on their side to find the openings and make it through some of the bigger melees on the evening. They just need to make it through one more. And I said at the top of the show, Ayrton, that the beginning of this race will be interesting because everybody's kind of find where they belong in line. The only thing that's as exciting about that is as well the end. You put these guys and you hang the checkered flag in front of them for one final restart. You can't guarantee that any of the cars are going to make it through turns 1 and 2. Fuller can really help himself out, though, if he just gets a really, really good restart, get in front of everybody else. That'll do wonders for his hopes.
Yeah, Fuller seems to be the man to beat for this race, and a lot of his competitors that have been challenging him in this race have gotten into bad luck late on in the race and are not really up there. Brian Yasick isn't up there. James Krahula isn't up there. Gary Whitson fell back after that spin. So a lot of these guys, Michael Korbach, hasn't really been in the top 5 for a lot of the race. So I'm not sure if he might have the speed to really challenge Justin Fuller.
Going to be 4.5 miles in 3 laps. 1 lap of green, 1 lap of green, the white flag to the checkered. If it stays green through the finish in this one to decide who walks away with race 2 of 4 in the 2015 American Sim Racing Series Xfinity Series live on the Global Sim Racing channel tonight. Round 2 in the championship about to go someone's direction, and expect a big shakeup in the points after what we've seen so far through one race as of Bristol a couple of weeks ago. Final time tonight, it is going to drop down and out of the way. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car down. Justin Fuller in control of the field. Green flag flies, back underway we go. 3 laps to go at Charlotte. The 7 Krobach trying to block for second. 3 wide behind them. Look at Gary Whitson. That is going to end it upside down. Tommy Ryan on his lid down in turn number 1. Trouble with Brian Yasick in a number 91 Wrangler machine. He was far back, and he was as well in a 3-wide situation. Inside did not have a good restart. You see right there, it looks like the 39 machine pushes up the hill a little bit more. Tough scenario for Jeff Ryan to be in, really, Ayrton. You don't want to hug the 16 on the bottom because He's not going to enter turn 1 plastered to the white line. You try to give him room. You clip the car up on the outside. Unfortunately, that turns Brian Yoxick around. Yoxick triggers the caution flag in this one, and then spinning back up the racetrack goes the 16 of Tommy Ryan into the outside wall, up and over off of the lid of the 39 car, and it was that restart by Justin Fuller, is that's all he needed to be able to get this one, and assuming no major issues under these next about 1.25 laps of pacing, he'll walk away with a checkered flag tonight in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, and definitely a few guys coming out with results that they may not have expected at the beginning of this race, that's for sure. Michael Krobach, as you said, started in 12th, finishing in 2nd. So, very good start from outside the top 10 to top 2.
White flag in the air, and we'll see the checker and the yellow come through together the next time around. Justin Fuller started this race in 4th. He was the 2nd fastest in practice, but it came down pit road about 20 laps into this race. And at that point, I question if are you committing yourself to a 2-stop race, not on fuel, but based on tires. He lost the race lead at halfway, made that 2nd pit stop. Thankfully for him, he had a lot of company on the same strategy and was just a handful of spots behind at time race leader. He's been able to get around Gary Whitson many a time tonight to the top spot and nailed, as we said, that final restart being the control car. Didn't hurt him at all that Krobach was challenging with Jeffrey Gilliam for 2nd. If they went side by side for 2nd all the way through 1 and 2, regardless of if there was a record out behind him, that should have given Justin Fuller enough of a gap to get the job done and do so. That is exactly what he has done tonight here at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Under the lights, round 2 in the championship. At a quarter number 4, he'll take the checker and the yellow at the same time. The number 51 Toyota of Justin Fuller, winner tonight at Charlotte. He takes the Charlotte 100 in the Xfinity Series, walks away on top of the pile. Michael Krobach, I'll say settles for 2nd, but as you pointed out, great finish, up 10 spots to get P2. Jeffrey Gilliam will round out your podium over top of Gary Whitson, who should have been maybe in the fence many a time tonight. He also had to struggle with one of the loosest cars on track, but he kept it out of the fence. He kept it out of everybody else, so that's good news in all of this. He'll be able to get a top 5 out of it. Jason Kristen in the Pappy's Pet Lodge machine comes home in 5th. Ricky Harden, Benny Ellison, Dan Murray, Alex Bates, and Jeff Ryan will round out your top 10. A celebration is in order for the driver of the 51, Justin Fuller, going to come around and celebrate a winner in the ASRS Xfinity Series tonight at Charlotte. We'll take one more brief moment as we watch the 51 get rid of what's left of those tires after what was a slip and slide-esque race under the lights in Concord tonight. We'll step away, take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back. The post-race show from Charlotte with the American Sim Racing Series on the Global Sim Racing channel coming up in just a moment. Back live at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway under the lights tonight in Concord, North Carolina. This presentation of the American Sim Racing Series on the Global Sim Racing channel in the books tonight with round 2 of 4 in the ASRS Xfinity Series. The Charlotte 100 goes in favor of Justin Fuller, winning this race after starting on the outside of row 2. Take a look at our full race results in this one. Fuller hangs on over top of Michael Krobach and Jeffrey Gilliam. We'll talk to your podium finishers in just a moment. As well, Gary Whitson somehow hangs on, both figuratively and literally, for a 4th place finish tonight to 5th place for Jason Kristen. Huge influx, up 21 spots from the start. 19 spots gained for Ricky Harden, just behind him, who finishes 6th. 17 spots gained for Benny Allison to walk away with 7th position. Dan Murray settles for 8th. Good points tonight for the driver that entered tonight atop the points. Alex Bates improved for a 9th place, and Jeff Ryan rounded out your top 10.
Cody Rose finished in 11th place. Then in 12th place was James Krahula after starting first. Not a great result for him. 13th place was Aaron Cleanhen, starting from last place. 14th place was Brian Yatsik, who started on the front row alongside James Krahula. Front row did not have great luck tonight. Tommy Ryan finished in 15th after having a late race wreck. 16th was Austin Missler. 17th was Joshua King. Ty Hester finished in 18th place. Alex Guys in 19th. And then Jim Foos in 20th.
And then rounding out your field tonight, 21st position. Again, all of these drivers out behind the wall. L. Bryce Whitson Jr. in 21st, to 22nd to Alec Marshall. Mark Myers, 23rd, 24th to Mark Allen. Norman Pelletier, the 3rd, 25th, 26th was Steve Buhala. Nick Cohan, premature ending to his night, sits shotgun on the 27-car field. Again, the 28th place machine of Carson Obey out of Club Canada did not make a start. He'll be chalked up with a DNS. Going to pass things down to the pit lane here. Caught up with the driver that comes home in a 3rd place finish tonight. We've caught up with Jeffrey Gilliam. Jeffrey, first off, congratulations on your finish, and as well, I'll congratulate you on having a clean race car at the end of that one, because that was a crazy race. Big thing we've been talking about is guys gaining 20 spots, guys falling 20 spots. It was a rather smooth race if you look at the numbers for you. You started 5th, you come away with a 3rd place, but what was it like driving out there in all of that chaos and just keeping that Ford underneath you and making it to the end of this one? Looks like having some small technical issues with the driver of the number 61, Jeffrey Gilliam, does come home 3rd tonight. We'll try to cue him up again in just a moment. In the meantime, though, Ayrton, I'll pass things down to you. You've caught up with the driver who had one of those more eventful nights that we talked about. You're with the driver that comes home in 2nd tonight. You're talking with Michael Krobach.
Thanks, Evan. Michael, you here?
Yes, sir.
Well, first off, congratulations. That's your second place finish in a row in this series. How do you feel?
I feel great. Looking for a solid points night, and I think that moves up to the points lead for us in the number 7 team.
Yeah, I believe so. Unofficial points leader here after 2 races out of 4. And first off, I want to say you were 3rd in practice, so you definitely had some speed, but you qualified in 12th, so not quite the best qualifying for you. What was it like starting in that mid-pack? What were your kind of plans start in the race when you're kind of in the middle of the action there?
Yeah, the track was so different from practice. It seemed to have a lot more grip, and the tires didn't fall off as much. It was like the tire test that I hosted earlier in the day, and so I had a feel for the car, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting, so I kind of underdrove it in qualifying. And I wanted to just stay out of trouble and maybe do some pit strategy there to try to get some track position.
And we also saw on a lot of the restarts, a lot of the guys, they had side-by-side action, but most guys tried to force going single file as soon as possible. How did the outside and inside differentiate at the beginning of those restarts?
Yeah, a lot of the guys were getting real loose in turn 1. A lot of people in front of me kept spinning to the inside, and I never got that loose feeling in my car at all during the race. One problem that I did have was when 05 and a couple other guys kind of spun to the inside, and I did get some damage there, and I thought that was the end of my night. But 7 team got it fixed up and kept it running, and we went from 9th to 2nd there in that last run.
Yeah, it was definitely a great run. Congratulations once again. Hoping to see you up to pace again at Talladega in the next race. So thanks for talking to us, Michael.
Thanks very much.
Okay, back to you, Evan.
And we've caught up down in the virtual Gatorade victory lane with Justin Fuller. Justin, you got a copy?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, well, our third place finisher left me hanging on the mic, but you win this one, so a little bit pumped up. I'll say the same thing to you that I said to Jeffrey, although we didn't get him on the mic. He had some small issues. Is congratulations not only on the win, but congratulations on surviving that one. A very interesting race for you. To the front, to the back, to the front, to the back. A late race pit stop gave you guys the speed you needed, and nailing that final restart allowed you to be in front of all the chaos that ensued behind you. But this new build, just few hours old, dynamic track, a lot of loose race cars. How'd you put the 51 on top of the board at the end of the night?
I personally didn't really think it was that loose. I don't know what the problem was. I mean, I thought the car was glued right to the track, to be honest with you. Maybe it was a Toyota thing. I'm not really sure. I didn't see too many Toyotas having issues, but might be something to look into. I got loose there one time when I just took the lead back from Gary and washed up the track a little bit, but it was well under control. We got the 91. He got loose in front of me. I saw people getting loose in my mirror. I'm not really sure if they were not what they were expecting for the track conditions to change or what. I did quite a bit of practice today with the Cup car on multiple tracks, so I kind of knew what to expect. But the track didn't really change a whole lot. Not as much as I was hoping it would, but we also ran quite a few laps under yellows. So I think if we had a long green flag run there, we would have seen a lot of different lanes.
Yeah, that was the big story into this that we were talking about, is all the new things in this build, the new anti-cheat software that iRacing is implementing. There's the new tire model on these race cars. Not only that, but as well the dynamic track and that new Toyota Xfinity car that we saw you piloting tonight. What's your thoughts so far initially on this new build that's been rolled out today?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I mean, I passed a handful of cars on the outside coming from the rear. Charlotte's always had some sort of a high line, but I really noticed it. You just pin it wide open on the outside line, run the bottom. I wasn't running wide open all the way around, but the outside line you really could, and you can make some time up there. Just letting it hang out, man. It was a lot of fun. I wish we could have had some more green flag racing to really see it change over time. Maybe a little bit of a longer race, longer green flag runs. We would have been a really great race. I mean, it was still a great race, don't get me wrong, but it could have been a lot better.
Dan Murray won the first race in this ASRS Xfinity Series a couple of weeks ago. He comes home tonight, top 10 in 8th position. Michael Krobach, though, back-to-back seconds. It'll put him at the top of the standings now halfway through this Midi Championship on the Truck Series off nights here on Wednesday evenings. But for you to have a top 10 with that 9th place finish in Thunder Valley, coming to this one and win it, unlike many people who started up inside the top 10, had fast cars or weren't able to come through, or just found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, really hurting them in points. You survived Charlotte, and I know the track changed today from the Milwaukee Mile to Charlotte to try to make it less of a wild card. Still ended up being pretty much a wild card race. Well, we'll throw another one into the schedule as well. Talladega for the next race in a couple of weeks for round 3 of 4 in the championship. You're in the conversation. How do you keep yourself there through the final 2?
I just do what I always do. Race hard. I don't think you're going to catch me running at the back of Talladega. I get wrecked more back there, or involved in wrecks more back there than I do running up front. So we're going to put our 8 assigned wraps, Toyota Camry, right up to the front there and try and keep it there all race long. That's the best place to be on a super speedway. So we'll see what happens next week. Talladega is a fun track. This new build, we'll see how it works with the new draft and all that stuff. And can't wait.
Well, we hope to see you up front at Talladega. I can tell you that we for sure saw you tonight. Very bright number 51 Toyota Camry out there. You mentioned ADesignerApps.com, title sponsor on that car. Who else do you want to thank for this win?
I got to thank Aftermath Motorsports, Ada Sign Wraps, John Ada. He got this car pumped out in about an hour and a half. I put my little evil minion on there. I don't know if you guys caught that at all, but got the little evil minion on this car. Got it on my Tundra too. And man, I just wish we could have had some more green flag race, man. I'm pretty bummed about that, but I'm pretty pumped up for the win. I'm only 2 points away from Krobach now. I know it's a short season. Anything can happen at Talladega, so we're looking forward to next week.
Not maybe the race that you were expecting, not the one you wanted, but nonetheless, the win, fairly good compensation. You win it tonight at Charlotte, as you said. You're right there in that championship hunt. 2 down, 2 to go. Want to thank you for sticking around and chatting with us. Justin, again, congratulations. Best of luck. We'll see you at Talladega, and hopefully we'll be talking to you post-race there as well under some good circumstances. Best of luck in that one.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to you guys in the booth. Thank you to the American Sim Racing for putting this league on, Jim Foose and all the guys on the RTA and everybody that puts any money into this. It's a fun league. You guys do great in the booth. You guys do great on broadcast. Can't wait to watch it tomorrow. Have a good night.
And that again is your winner tonight for the Charlotte 100. Justin Fuller starts from 4th and walks away with the win in the eDesignWraps.com Toyota Camry. Ayrton, it was not the race that he was expecting, not the race that we were expecting, but somebody had to win it. The 51 put the power down, and he said it wasn't all that loose, so he obviously got a handle on this thing a little bit earlier than other guys.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the Toyota.
I did say at the beginning that although the Toyota is new and the Ford is new, they are the same race car, but I don't know. I know there was that April Fool's joke on iRacing. Was it a Ford that apparently was given more horsepower in that April Fool's joke? Because now we can kick up those Toyota conspiracies. And Fuller, without a doubt, enjoying the power and the grip behind that Toyota Camry. Just a teaser tonight, though, as far as what we'll see throughout the next coming weeks and really from now on, because the name of the game in sim racing has changed today with these dynamic tracks. Not a big player tonight, but should be exciting to see how this all plays out throughout the coming weeks. And there's a lot of different variants of racing on GSRC for you to check out. It'll be a big topic point for, I'm sure, many, many weeks to come as far as how these races will change from start to finish and what kind of effect that will play on the results. You heard Justin Fuller. He did want to thank his title sponsor, and, well, as we put race number 2 in the books, we do need to thank people on our end of things as well for allowing us to do what we do here at the Global Sim Racing Channel. Do want to thank iRacing.com, Motorsport Simulations LLC. Great sim, even better after today. And iRacing pushing the boundaries, as always, has changed the name in sim racing forever with these dynamic tracks, and we look fun to play with that for weeks and weeks to come. I do also want to thank the people on the streaming side of things, the software side as well, XSplit, free and easy live streaming and recording software, the Audio Technica Corporation, and Avery Media USA. Do want to thank the ASRS administration team as well, Jim France Sr. himself, or Jim France Jr. rather himself, Jim Foose, Alex Bates as well, both of those drivers doing double duty driving and as well doing race control. It's a tough job to do. I want to thank them for everything that they do. If you want more information on the series, you can go to AmericanSimRacing.com or Facebook.com/ASRS Race. Additional thanks go to camera sets that are provided by Dougie Beard, and music tonight's broadcast that you have heard provided by both Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. Full of their information up on the screen. Give them a shout. Let them know where you heard them. You can stay up to date with GSRC online at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. As well on social media, we do have a Twitter at GSR Channel, or you can go to Facebook.com and you see the link on the side /Global Sim Racing Channel. Take a look at some of the upcoming events here with GSRC throughout Midi Likes Racing, from oval to road, everything in between. The next time we will see this ASRS Xfinity Series going to be for round 3 from Talladega, Alabama, Wednesday, October the 7th, 9 o'clock Eastern. This is going to be the place to be. But as we close this one out, Ayrton, any final thoughts on what was a very interesting Charlotte 100?
Well, you said it was very interesting. I was excited to see how all these drivers would adjust with the new dynamics, and I mean it was pretty cool to see what it's like to race with all these new track things. For most of these guys, it was probably the first race they've done with the new track dynamics, so definitely exciting to watch and interesting. There are some good battles, and Justin Fuller definitely deserved that win.
You can get your ASRS fix in again in just 1 week's time. They're going to get us clowns out of the way, and you can join again. Joe Peak, Samuel Ryman from the Chicagoland Speedway, Wednesday, September the 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern, for round 18 in the 2015 chase, the American Sim Racing Series AMSOIL Truck Series on GSRC returns in just 1 week's time. Until then, though, do want to thank everybody for tuning in, and on behalf of the broadcast crew tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, for Eric Tidalis, and our director, Amjad Yaman, thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Justin Fuller, your winner tonight. Congratulations to Michael Krobach, who goes back-to-back bridesmaids. He leads the points in the ASRS Xfinity Series at the halfway point. Until next time, good night from Charlotte. We'll see you with truck racing action on the Global Sim Racing Channel next Wednesday night. Good night.